Hello beautiful people. Today is cold, so I don't know why I decided to film outside. I like the idea of a change in scenery, something a little bit different, just kind of enjoying the outside, getting some sun in between work, but I don't know why I picked today. Bad idea. Hello beautiful people, it's Ryan again, and I was gonna film outside, but the winds so far this week have been like 20 miles per hour. The wind is unreal. So we're gonna just do this one in the car. We're talking about allocated spending plans and how those can kind of impact your budget. A couple of tips whenever you're putting one together, and I'll give you some tips on how to actually implement it. An allocated spending plan is a cash flow representation of your budget. It takes the actual funds that are coming in as income and allocates those to the expenses when they're happening. The difference is your allocated spending plan is a lot smaller scope of time. And also its purpose is mainly to make sure that your checking account never goes below zero. So I'm gonna put up an example of what our allocated spending plan is right here. We just use a G sheet in order to track all of the income that's going to be coming in over the course of 2 weeks. And then we, underneath that, put all of the different categories we placed in our budget inside the allocated spending plan. And then we just subtract out every single line item that's going to be happening in those 2 weeks. So rent and electricity are going to hit at the exact same times every single month. They happen about the same time, so they always come out of the first check for the month. So if you're paid on like the 25th of February and the month actually starts on the 3rd of March, but you don't have money in March yet to pay for those things, all you have to do is just allocate money and funds from February to March in order to pay for rent and utilities. So it just makes sure that all of your actual bills get paid on time every time. So as you can see at the very top, we place in all of the income sources we expect to have over the course of the month. After that, we place in some of the major expenses. We're focusing first on those that have set dates associated with them that I know are going to fall inside that period of time. Since those have dates, they're not going to shift from one period to the other. Here's exactly what my fixed expenses are going to be for this section of time. And now you subtracted out all of those requirements, all the bills. Now you know how much money will be left in your checking account for other types of spending. So if you were going to go to the movie this week, but you notice that you're only going to have $10 in your checking account, you probably should push that off until after your next pay period. The other variable that you can control with your allocated spending plan is going to be your savings and when those actually come out of your checking account. If you're like us and you're pretty good at allocating your funds whenever they need to and you're not huge spenders, it's not a huge deal, but for cleanliness purposes, it's really good to remove all of the savings that you have in your checking account to a separate account, not only so that they don't get touched, but also it's good so that you can see exactly how much money you have actually available for spending at any given time. So when it comes in order of priority, you're going to hit anything that has an actual date associated with it. You're going to hit your priority or averaged out items. Then you're going to go into things that are just for entertainment purposes or just spending or savings next. The last main tip I have for an allocated spending plan is to have a set amount of money that you just keep in your account. And that will be kind of a buffer between you and whatever happens during the month that might throw off your allocated spending plan. So let's just, for example, say that you thought you needed $100 in groceries for this week in order to take care of everything, but you actually needed $200. Inside your allocated spending plan, you can actually capture those by having that buffer inside your account. So your buffer may go from an arbitrary number of $1,000 down from $1,000 to 900, and that's not really a huge deal. But if it has to go from absolute zero down to negative 100, that's going to really run you into the red. You're going to have a lot of fees. It's not going to be worth it. So I always suggest to have an allocated plan that puts a certain amount of buffer money inside your liquid accounts so that you don't have to go into the red at any given time. The actual number that you choose kind of depends on you. We choose to pick something that's closer to our rent payment so that we know we can always pay for our housing if necessary. But you may be able to live a lot closer to the line, so you might choose like $100 or $200, where it's just the buffer between you and whatever changes in your budget. All in all, when you're putting together your allocated spending plan, just remember that your budget is going to tell you how much money you have available in a set period, and your allocated spending plan is only to make sure that your cash flow always remains positive. So it's gonna end up zeroing out at the end of each month. It may have some lead in from one month to the other, and those are kind of nuances that you can figure out along the way how you'd like to take care of those things. But when it comes to your allocated spending plan, it's solely to make sure that you're not living paycheck to paycheck, in the sense that you can't pay your bills on time. So that's all I had for this video about allocated spending plans. I hope you enjoyed it. If you learned something, go ahead and let me know in the comments down below. If you'd like to know more about this spreadsheet, how it works, and where you can get a copy for yourself, please leave a comment down below letting me know you're interested in that. And if you're interested in getting some of the updates on our fitness, financial, and family-centered goals, go ahead and hit the subscribe button and the notification bell so you get the notifications as soon as the video comes out. Thank you for watching. Bye. Leave a like on the video if you appreciate how cold it is outside today.